The dogs had linen napkins. Noah had nothing. Every seat had a name except ours, and the empty chair in the corner faced me like a warning. My father raised his glass. We didn't plan for extras. The laughter that followed was polite, thin, like clinking glass over ice that never melts. I didn't say a word. I opened my banking app, scrolled to the household fund, and tilted the screen toward him. Before grace, I said, maybe check your balance. You ever feel a whole childhood collapse in a single glance? Because that's what his face did. Cracked, then smoothed over like nothing happened. I stood up, lifted Noah's small hand, and walked out before anyone could pretend to stop me. The dogs barked behind us, tails wagging, napkins still tied like little crowns. My name is Kara Bennett. I'm 30, from Phoenix. And the boy holding my hand, that's Noah, my son. The air outside smelled like wet grass and cologne. He looked up at me, eyes wide. Did I do something bad, Mom? I crouched down. No, baby. Some people just like rules more than love. The thing is, this wasn't new. My family had always loved control disguised as order. Growing up, we had a tradition. One empty chair at the end of every dinner table. My father said it was for whoever disobeys. It was supposed to be symbolic, but when you're 5, symbols feel real. You don't forget watching your birthday cake melt while everyone eats without you. That chair sat at the end of the table again today. Facing me, waiting. I guess that's what hurt most. It wasn't just the insult. It was realizing the ritual never ended. They just changed the target. As I buckled Noah into his seat, I caught my reflection in the car window. Mascara smudged, blouse stained from spilled lemonade. I laughed once, sharp, quiet. Well, guess I'm the empty chair now. You ever try to forgive people while they're still cutting you? That's what I've done most of my life. Call it keeping peace. But really, it was erasing myself piece by piece. The phone buzzed. One new message. Riley. You were right. My stomach dropped. Riley never texted that way. Not without punctuation, not without a follow-up. Just those 3 words and a dash. I read it twice, 3 times. My hand shook like it did when I first learned the truth about that household fund, a savings account we all contributed to, supposedly for emergencies. Except every emergency had my parents' signature, not mine. Noah kicked the back of my seat lightly. Can we get ice cream? Yeah, I said automatically, still staring at the phone. We can get ice cream. The streetlights flickered on as we pulled away. Behind us, the laughter from the yard rose again. Warm, full, and fake. Like nothing had happened. Halfway to the diner, I caught myself gripping the wheel too tight. Riley's words looped in my head, louder each time. You were right. About what? The dogs? The chair? The fund? Or something worse? Something still unfolding. I took the next exit, headlights washing over an old sign that said, Marla's Diner, open late. Maybe it's just me, but when a message like that lands out of nowhere, you don't go home. You go somewhere with witnesses and coffee refills, somewhere you can breathe. That night, I didn't realize it yet, but walking into that diner was the start of everything I couldn't undo. If you've ever kept peace by cutting pieces off yourself, stay. Marla's Diner was half empty that night, the kind of place where time sticks to the air, grease, sugar, and secrets all mixed in. Riley was already there, hunched over a mug that had seen better years. She didn't wave, just slid a napkin across the table. You were right, she said, about all of it. I didn't want to ask which it. The fund? The fake apology? The way our family only said love when someone was about to owe them something? Instead, I asked the waitress for coffee. No cream, no sugar. My hands wouldn't stop fidgeting, so I wrapped them around the mug when it came. Heat grounding me more than comfort ever could. Riley sighed. They're running it like a point system, Kara. Whoever gives the most, time, money, obedience, gets praise. Whoever resists. She traced a circle on the napkin, the pen tearing through the paper. Gets erased. Sounds about right, I said. They used to call it loyalty. She laughed softly, the kind that dies before it lives. They've been telling everyone your loan was a gift. $6,500 to help family. You're the villain for asking it back. My throat tightened. I have receipts. I know. She reached into her purse and laid one flat on the table. But you don't have this one. It was an online order receipt. Pet supplies, toys, a canine comfort calming bed, shipped last month. Under payment method, it listed add-on card ending 2281. Account holder, Kara Bennett. I felt my stomach turn. You're kidding. Nope, they opened an add-on card in your name. Said it's linked to the family account, but the primary's under your dad. The waitress passed by, refilling our mugs. I thanked her on reflex, then stared at the coffee as if it could explain anything. You ever sit across from someone who's confirming the thing you've been afraid to say out loud? That's what it felt like. Every truth scraping its way to the surface. I told myself it was just control, I said quietly. But this is theft. Riley reached into her coat again, this time sliding a small thumb drive across the table. Listen at minute 11. What's on it? Her eyes flicked to the window, then back to me. Proof. I didn't mean to record it, but you'll understand. I picked it up, small and cold between my fingers. The kind of object that changes things without making a sound. Riley pushed her plate away, untouched. You know what hurts most? They think they're still saving you, like breaking you is a form of love. I wanted to say something, anything, but before I could, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail. I pressed play. Hello, this is Canyon Elementary. We just wanted to confirm. Static. A pause. That Noah's grandparents attempted an early sign-out today. But since your file lists restricted pickup, we followed policy and declined. Just letting you know, ma'am. I froze. Riley looked at me, waiting. What? They tried to take him. My voice barely made it past my lips. The waitress came by again. Everything okay, hun? Riley nodded before I could. Yeah, she said, smiling tight. We're just figuring out the check. I slid the thumb drive into my pocket, heart pounding. Somewhere between that voicemail and the untouched coffee, I knew this wasn't about money anymore. It was about control, and it was far from over. By the time I pulled into their driveway, the porch lights were already on. Bright, deliberate, like a stage waiting for a scene to start. You ever walk into a conversation you've already rehearsed in your head? That was me. Except I didn't expect them to smile. Mom opened the door before I could knock. Kara, she said softly, like the word itself was peace. Come in, sweetheart. The house smelled like citrus cleaner and control. Dad was at the kitchen table, hands folded over a folder labeled Family Finances. It was too perfect, too arranged. He gestured to the seat across. We heard about the misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? I repeated. You tried to sign my son out of school. Mom flinched. Your sister must have confused the paperwork. I looked between them. You also opened a credit line under my name. For pet supplies. Dad's jaw tightened. Then, shockingly, he sighed. You're right. We overstepped. It's been stressful for everyone. We'll make it right. You ever wait so long for an apology that when it finally comes, you don't know what to do with it? He pushed a folded check across the table. We'll repay the loan in installments. Let's stop all this drama before Noah gets caught in it. Mom added quickly, we love you both. We just lost track of things. The words felt light, practiced, But they were words, and I was tired. I stared at the check. $500, a start. Maybe even a truce. Dad smiled, standing to pour himself another coffee. See? We're fixing this. Family first. I exhaled. Family first. Later that night, they posted a photo on Facebook. All smiles, matching shirts, the caption reading, "Family isn't perfect, but it's forever." My name was tagged. I stared at it for a while, thumb hovering over the notification. For the first time in weeks, my chest didn't feel like it was caving in. Maybe this was it. Maybe peace didn't have to come with blood. Back home, Noah was building Lego towers on the living room rug. "Mom," he said, "are Grandma and Grandpa still mad?" I knelt beside him. "No, buddy. They said sorry." He smiled, innocent, untouched by the weight of adult deceit. I wanted to keep it that way. When he fell asleep, I poured a glass of water, checked my phone. A new notification popped up from my banking app. Incoming transfer. $500. From Dad. The heart emoji blinked at me. A digital olive branch. For a second, I believed it. You ever crave normal so bad you'll mistake quiet for safety? That was me right then. Letting my guard drop because exhaustion sounded like forgiveness. I turned off the lights, letting the stillness feel like healing. The next morning, sunlight pooled across the kitchen floor. I made pancakes. Noah giggled as syrup dripped down his chin. For a moment, it was just us. No lies, no rituals. Then the phone buzzed. Voicemail. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, thinking it was another scam. But then I heard Riley's voice. Her tone was low, tight. "Kara, it's me. Don't freak out, but I found something while going through their files for the repayment records. It's in the safe, under travel documents." A pause. "They have Noah's passport." The line went dead. The room felt smaller suddenly. My chest locked. The pancakes burned. And just like that, the peace I'd tried to build dissolved. Like sugar in hot coffee, gone before I could taste it. The peace didn't last 48 hours. Tuesday morning, I opened my front door to find an envelope wedged between the mat and the frame. No stamp, no return address, just my name written in my mother's looping cursive. Inside was a single page typed in Times New Roman, polite to the point of cruelty. "Dearest Kara, we understand you're still upset. But please remember, the $6,500 was always meant as a gift, not a debt. We only wanted to help. Please don't punish Noah by keeping him from his family. Love, Mom and Dad." You ever read something that sounds loving until you realize it's a threat in a cardigan? By lunch, the old dread had returned. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from an unknown number, 1 from the school. The message said everything was fine, but they wanted to confirm the new pickup restrictions I'd emailed the night before. I'd added them after Riley's warning. Code phrase, Sunset Parade. Photo ID required. No exceptions. No one but me signs Noah out. That night I scrolled through the footage from my doorbell camera. At first nothing, just delivery drivers, kids on bikes. Then at 6:42 p.m., a woman appeared. Not Mom, not anyone I knew. She stood on my porch rehearsing something under her breath. I turned up the volume. "Hi, I'm here for Noah Bennett. His mother asked me to pick him up. Emergency dentist appointment." My stomach twisted. She practiced the same line 3 times before walking off toward a dark sedan parked half a block away. I called Riley. Straight to voicemail. I texted. No response. Midnight. Nothing. By morning, I'd convinced myself she'd lost her phone. By evening, I stopped believing that. You ever feel the floor under your life start to tilt, and everyone else keeps pretending it's level? That's what the next 2 days felt like. Emails from work piling up, neighbors waving hello, and me double-checking every lock twice. I went to the school again, face to face with the principal. No exceptions, I told her. If someone tries again, call the police first, then me. She nodded, sympathy in her eyes. I could tell she thought I was being paranoid. But paranoia is just pattern recognition you don't want to believe. Thursday. A letter arrived from the bank. Notice of address change request. I hadn't filed one. When I called to report it, the rep hesitated before saying, "It looks like a family member tried to consolidate accounts. We flagged it for verification." I hung up, shaking. They weren't just trying to rewrite the loan. They were rewriting me. That night, Noah came into the kitchen in his pajamas. "Mom, are we safe?" I crouched, brushing his hair from his forehead. "Yeah, baby. But from now on, if anyone ever says they're here for you, you ask for the code phrase." He nodded, serious, small. "Sunset Parade." "Exactly." When he went back to bed, I sat at the table staring at my phone. Still no word from Riley. I typed, deleted, retyped, "Please tell me you're okay." Then I hit send. Nothing. Near midnight, a buzz. I grabbed the phone, hope flaring, only to see a message from my neighbor, Claire. "Hey, Kara, this just showed up on my security cam. Thought you should see." Attached was a short clip, someone walking slow along the side of my house. The camera caught just enough light to show the shape pausing by Noah's bedroom window. The figure leaned forward once, then disappeared into the dark. By Friday, I'd stopped sleeping. The days blurred into each other. Work calls I didn't take, meals I didn't taste, every noise outside pulling my attention to the window. My lawyer, a calm man named Darius Miles, slid a folder across the table during our meeting. "I believe you," he said, "but right now, the evidence is thin for criminal charges. It's a civil mess, identity misuse, emotional distress, nothing that puts them behind bars." I stared at the folder like it might open itself and fix everything. "They forged my name on a credit line, tried to pick up my kid, changed my bank address, and sent a letter pretending the loan never existed. How is that not criminal?" He sighed. "Intent. You can't prove it yet. Not enough for the DA to file." That word, yet, was the only lifeline he gave me. Outside, the Arizona heat clung to the air like guilt. I sat in the car, engine off, watching the glass shimmer. You ever feel like your whole life is evidence, and still nobody believes you? That's what it felt like. I picked up Noah from school that afternoon. He climbed into the back seat quietly, hugging his backpack. "You okay, buddy?" He looked down. "Did I do something wrong?" "What? No, of course not." He hesitated. "They said I'm why you left. Grandma told my friend's mom that you don't trust people anymore because of me." The world tilted for a second. I pulled over, turned to face him. "Hey, look at me." He did. His eyes were wide, wet, scared. "Real love doesn't take you without asking," I said softly. "That's how you know the difference. Okay? Real love asks." He nodded, but the words landed heavier on me than him. We got home, made pasta, tried to pretend everything was fine. Halfway through dinner, the phone rang. Unknown number again. I almost ignored it. "Ms. Bennett?" The voice was calm, official. "This is Child Protective Services. We received a report." Every muscle in my body went cold. A report about what? An allegation of neglect. We're required to follow up. Someone claimed your son may be living in unsafe conditions. Can we schedule a home visit? My hand shook so hard I had to grip the counter. Who filed this? "I'm not authorized to disclose that information at this stage," the man said. "But given the nature of the claim, it's standard procedure. Are you available tomorrow morning?" I didn't answer. My mind was already racing. The letter, the staged pickup, the missing Riley. Every thread led back to the same source. "Ms. Bennett?" he repeated. "I'll call you back," I managed, and hung up. For a moment, I couldn't move. The clock on the wall ticked so loud it felt like it was mocking me. Then Noah's voice came from the hallway. "Mom?" He stood there barefoot, holding his toy truck, confusion written all over his face. "Who was that?" I forced a breath. "Just someone who got the wrong number." He tilted his head. "You're shaking." I knelt, taking his hands in mine. "Hey, remember what I said? Real love asks. But some people don't ask. They just take." He frowned. "Like Grandma?" My throat closed. "Yeah, like that." He looked towards the window, where the security light flickered on. "Are they coming again?" I pulled him close. "They're trying to take you another way," I whispered. "But they're not going to win." Saturday morning, the package came. No return address, no postage, just my name printed on a white label, clean as a threat. I set it on the counter, half expecting it to tick. Inside was a thick envelope sealed in plastic, stamped confidential records. I tore it open and froze. Noah's birth certificate. Only this one wasn't the original. A line had been added beneath the parent section. Custodial grandparents. Alternative filing, 2019. My mind blanked. 2019, he was barely 2. I flipped it over, searching for the state seal. It was real. Not a photocopy, not a fake. You ever find proof of a lie so big it rewrites your past in one blink? That's what this was. I called Darius immediately. He picked up on the second ring. "Miles Law." "It's Kara. They filed something with my son's name on it. Custodial grandparents, 2019. Silence. Then a slow exhale. "Do not go home," he said. "There's likely a custody motion attempt tied to that document. If they're moving now, it's premeditated." "Premeditated?" "They planned this," he said flatly. "Years ago." I hung up before I realized my hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. Noah was in the living room, coloring on the floor, humming to himself, safe, oblivious. I wanted to stay in that moment, but the walls felt thinner by the minute. Around noon, a knock. I checked the peephole, every muscle locking. It was Riley. I swung the door open. She looked wrecked, hair unwashed, eyes red, voice barely above a whisper. "Can I come in?" I pulled her inside. "Where have you been?" "They found me," she said. "I went to your parents' house the day after the diner. I thought I could reason with them." "What happened?" "They threatened me." She swallowed hard. "Said if I didn't back off, they'd reopen something from my past." "You remember my cousin Aaron?" I nodded slowly. "The one who disappeared for a year after high school?" Riley nodded. "They did the same thing to her. Filed fake custody paperwork after her mom died. Said it was temporary guardianship so they could access her college fund. They forged her mom's signature. Same notary, same handwriting, same legal phrasing. Alternative filing for custodial transfer. I found the proof." She opened her purse and pulled out a flash drive, setting it beside my coffee cup. Emails, signatures, timestamps, everything. The air between us felt electric, like touching a live wire. I sat down slowly, staring at the drive. "They've been doing this for years." Riley nodded. "They pick family members who don't fight back, and they always make it look like concern. We're just helping." I closed my eyes, and suddenly I was back in that hospital room years ago. Place, the smell of disinfectant, the steady beeping of monitors, the weight of Noah in my arms. Action. My mother leaning over the bassinet, smiling. Speech. "Sweetheart, can I grab a few extra copies of the paperwork, just in case you lose them?" Thought. I'd been too tired to question it. That was the start. They'd planned it before I'd even left the hospital. When I opened my eyes, Riley was watching me. "You can't face them alone," she said. "I'm done facing them," I replied. "Now I fight them." Before I could say more, my phone buzzed. Darius again. "Kara," he said, voice clipped. It's happening. Temporary custody motion. They filed in family court 10 minutes ago. I gripped the edge of the table. What do I do? He paused, then said the only thing worse than silence. Be ready. By the time the peace dinner rolled around, every instinct I had was screaming not to go. But Darius said it himself. You can't win a war, you can't document. So I turned war into theater. I arrived early, armed with a cake, a calm smile, and a tiny legal-grade recorder pinned under my collar. Noah held the box like it was treasure. Are they going to be nice this time? He asked. They'll be exactly who they are, I said. That's what we need. The house looked the same. Scented candles, spotless counters, fake warmth. My mother opened the door, smiling wide. You look tired, honey. Rough week? You could say that. Dad appeared behind her, cheerful in that corporate way that hides rot. Glad you came. Let's put all that nonsense behind us. Nonsense. He meant years of manipulation, lies, false filings. But I smiled. Sure. We sat at the long dining table. The empty chair was gone this time. Maybe symbolic, maybe strategic. Noah swung his legs under the chair, polite, quiet. I kept my phone face down, the red recording light hidden beneath the napkin. Mom reached for the cake box. What's this? Birthday cake, I said. For Noah. You missed it last week. Her smile flickered. Oh, sweetheart, we were so busy. You know how it is. She cut a slice and slid it toward him. But Noah pushed the plate away, small hand firm. You didn't ask me, he said. The table froze. Her eyes widened, the air thickened, and for one long beat, nobody moved. Then Dad snapped, Don't you start with that attitude, boy. We've been preparing since the day you were born, just waiting for your mother to screw up. The words hit like a gunshot. He kept going, voice rising. You think we don't know how to protect family assets? That loan was ours the second she signed it. Every cent in that house, every account, our names on half of it. You think you can take him from us? I didn't move, didn't speak. Just let the recorder catch every word. Mom tried to calm him. Charles, stop. No, he barked, slamming the table. She deserves to hear it. We already talked to Judge Miller. She won't win. That line sealed it. Noah's eyes filled with tears. I reached for his hand under the table. We're leaving, I said quietly. You walk out that door, Dad warned. You'll regret it. I stood anyway. You already made sure of that. As we left, the tension cracked the air like static. The night outside was silent, except for Noah's uneven breathing. I strapped him into the car seat, hands trembling but steady enough to start the engine. Darius called, just as I pulled into my driveway. You need to hear this, he said. I just found something buried in the trust registry. My stomach clenched. What now? There's a $50,000 trust in Noah's name, he said. Filed 4 years ago. Source of funds. Your payroll transfers. You've been paying into it without knowing. It's only accessible if you're declared unfit as a parent. I gripped the steering wheel, pulse pounding. They set it up as bait. Yes, a legal noose. Noah's voice piped up from the back seat. Mom? Yeah, baby. Did we win? I forced a breath. Not yet. Darius's voice came through the speaker again. Whatever happens next, don't engage them. I'll handle the filing. But Kara? What? They're desperate. Be ready for anything. The hearing lasted 12 minutes. 12 minutes to flatten 3 years of fear, evidence, and sleepless nights into 2 words. Insufficient intent. The judge barely looked up as he read the ruling. The court finds no basis for criminal prosecution. Custody remains with the biological mother. The gavel fell with a hollow clap. That was it. No vindication, no apology, just paperwork and silence. Darius packed his folder slowly. You got what matters most, he said. Did I? My voice sounded distant. They get to walk away. He met my eyes. You get to walk away with your son. Outside, the air was bright, almost mocking. I buckled Noah into his seat, then sat behind the wheel and stared at the courthouse for a long time. The building looked sterile, safe, like a place where the truth should have meant something. 2 days later, Darius called again. You're not going to believe this, he said. I double-checked the docket. What now? There is no active Judge Miller in Maricopa County. He retired 2 years ago. I didn't speak. I didn't have to. They lied, he said softly. Your father used a dead name to scare you. That was the moment I stopped expecting the system to save me. You ever feel the line between justice and survival blur until they're the same thing? That's where I was. So I made a decision that night, one Darius told me not to make. I went public. It started with a Reddit post. I typed the title, erased it twice, then finally hit send. Grandparents tried to steal my child. I uploaded clips from the dinner recording, his voice shouting about preparing since the day he was born. The internet did what it always does. Within hours, the post hit 40,000 upvotes. Someone clipped the audio and turned it into a TikTok trend. We've been preparing since the day he was born, remixed over trap beats and family photos. It was chaos. But it was also truth, finally louder than their lies. By morning, reporters were parked outside my parents' house. The same neighbors who'd once praised my dad for raising such a tight-knit family were now peeking through blinds, filming news vans on their phones. Then came the voicemail. Mom's voice cracked through static. You destroyed the family, Kara. Do you hear me? You've humiliated us. Are you happy now? Noah was sitting beside me when it played. He didn't say anything, just leaned against my arm and watched the waveform bounce on screen like it meant nothing. The next day, a new document appeared in the online court portal. Custody motion withdrawn. Just like that, the storm stopped. Darius called again. It's over, he said, almost in disbelief. They pulled the motion voluntarily. My guess? Public pressure. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt hollow, like a balloon that had floated too long and finally touched the ceiling. He warned me gently. Technically, releasing that recording violated privacy law. I know, I said. You could face civil claims if they pursue it. I know that too. Pause. Would you do it again? I didn't answer right away. If you'd seen what they were willing to do to him, I finally said, you wouldn't be asking. Noah adjusted faster than I did. Kids always do. The nightmares faded. The lock stayed, but the tension didn't. Riley moved back into town, 2 blocks away. Sometimes she'd drop by with takeout. Sometimes just to sit in silence. One weekend, she brought a scruffy rescue mutt with one floppy ear and a crooked tail. He's untrainable, she said. Perfect, I told her. We named him Copper. He started sleeping under Noah's bed, a quiet sentinel against everything we couldn't see. Months passed. The story died online, buried under new scandals. But sometimes I'd catch strangers whispering my name in grocery aisles, unsure whether to pity or thank me. That's the thing about going public. You trade peace for permanence. Once you speak, you can't unspeak. Still, every night when I locked the door, the house stayed quiet. No drive-bys, no strange calls, no empty chairs. One evening, we were eating dinner in the new kitchen. White walls, no family portraits, no ghosts. The dog lay under the table, head resting where that old empty chair used to sit. Noah was laughing, talking with his mouth full. For the first time, the sound didn't carry an echo. I thought back to that old ritual, how they used to keep that chair for whoever disobeys. How fear had once been the center of every meal. Now the only thing filling that space was a dog who snored through dessert. That's the real ending, isn't it? Not fireworks, not court victories, just quiet normalcy you fought too hard for. Later, as I washed dishes, Noah climbed onto the counter beside me, swinging his legs. Mom? Yeah? Do you regret it? I looked at him. His hair too long again, chocolate smeared on his cheek, safe in a way that still didn't feel real. Do I regret what? Protecting me, he said. Or hurting them. The question hung there, heavier than it should have been. I wiped my hands on a towel, thinking about everything. The recordings, the posts, the sleepless nights, the lawyers, the headlines, the way my mom's voice still rang in my head when the house got too quiet. Both, I said finally. I regret both. He looked confused. You mean you'd do it different? No, I said softly. I mean, I'd still do it. But it still hurts. He thought about that, then nodded like he understood more than I wanted him to. Then both, huh? Yeah, I said, smiling a little. Then both, kiddo. He leaned his head on my shoulder, and for a moment, the world shrank to the size of our kitchen. Warm light, steady hum, safe air. You ever wonder what justice really looks like when the Hasiats system fails you? Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes it's gray. Sometimes it's just choosing peace that doesn't look like forgiveness. If you've ever had to trade your reputation to protect your peace, you know the choice isn't clean. But it's still yours. And sometimes that's the only justice there is.